On today's show, Victoria's EV tax gets delayed, and I'm going to show you what driving an electric vehicle is really like. Making some big news yesterday, the Victorian government planned to actually put to vote its controversial electric vehicle tax, which has fortunately been delayed. Now, I've got a few things to say on this, and first up, I'm going to start on a bit of a sour note, I think, and that is that Solar Citizens, and with the help of AVA, that's the Australian Electric Vehicle Association, AVA helped to promote what Solar Citizens was going to do, and that was to demonstrate at Parliament about this electric vehicle tax. But because on Saturday the subsidies were announced and a lot of hoopla and all that sort of great stuff, Solar Citizens decided to actually not march on Spring Street. No, they decided to push it to elsewhere. And look, I'm very disappointed by this. I don't think it's the right thing to be doing because, well, just because you have given some incentives and done some right things doesn't make this EV tax in any way, shape or form right. So again, disappointing, and I hope that this electric vehicle tax that's going to now be voted on Thursday doesn't get a look in. So just to catch you up in case you've been under a rock and you don't know what I'm talking about, on the Saturday, Lily D'Ambrose and Daniel Andrews, who's I still believe actually recovering from some major sick leave, like he has some vertebrae broken. Not nice, folks. They announced $100 million package, which will see, hopefully by 2030, 50% of all new car sales be electric. Roughly, that's going to look like, by that stage, 2030, 700,000 electric vehicles. Pretty good. Very good. I like what I'm hearing. It's encouraging and gets us towards what the rest of the world is already doing. But as you'll soon learn, it's not that good. Getting back to before around Solar Citizens and how that I think they got distracted by this little dangling of the money. This $3,000 subsidies for EVs less than $68,740 is limited to just 20,000 grants, or roughly $60 million. That will most likely mean that all those grants have actually been taken up by,
drumroll,
2023. And we have just 1% of our cars as EVs by that time. So, does it seem like it's actually a good thing? No. In fact, it's going to get a lot worse. Hold your horses. Ready for this? Thinking about, Norway and their 30-year journey. They've done a lot of things. Check out all their stuff that they have done to incentivize people into electric vehicles and to improve the world in which all Norwegians live. So going back to 700,000 electric vehicles by 2030, that will mean that fewer than 3% of buyers would have received that initiative. And also thinking about, what about the current people? There's about 7,000 electric vehicles in Victoria right now. They too have missed out on this, and they will potentially have to pay this electric vehicle tax, which is unfair. It's not the right timing. We're talking about decarbonising here, improving the health of the nation. I've said this all stuff before, but you get the idea. It really does. I guarantee you that there's some dirty politics going on here and some backroom deals. Remember, 11 out of 12 of the crossbenchers don't support this legislation. They're the ones who actually hold the keys to this. And I'll talk more about them in a moment. But trying to get on a bit more of a positive note, government fleet will be moving to 400 EV purchases in the next 2 years. And, it's only about 4% of the total fleet, folks, because the Victorian government fleet's about 10,000 in total. And there's going to be something, we don't know what, about commercial leases and them having to buy electric vehicles, which again is very important because 50% of all new car sales right now in Australia are for fleets. And so therefore, in 3-5 years' time when those leases end, they'll become relatively cheaper and more affordable than they are now. And so then people who would have thought about buying a whatever car can actually get themselves into an electric vehicle. But It's missing a lot of detail here. It was just a press release, and it mentioned also about 50 additional rapid chargers, which would be very welcome indeed. So what do you think? For me, it's definitely a step in the right direction. But a tax plus an incentive is best described as like driving with one foot on the brake and the other foot on the accelerator. It's counter to our aims, and that is like to clean our air, improve our communities, and ensure that those who are doing the right thing by going electric are decarbonising our country and not being penalised to do so. If you want to know more information about these costs that I released on Monday, please do follow the link down below, and this is where you come in, because important. This legislation was supposed to be passed today, but it's been delayed to Thursday. So right now, I want you to look at the links down below. I've left phone numbers and email addresses of all the crossbenchers who are going to be voting on this on Thursday. I want you to write to them. I want you to call them. I've left you some words also on what to say, because maybe they're not completely across this. You can talk about it from the financial perspective, in that people who drive plug-in hybrid vehicles and electric vehicles are going to be paying 1/3 to 2/3 more than an equivalent internal combustion engine car. It's nothing that's ever occurred worldwide. Other countries that have announced, subsidies, incentives, and ICE car bans, and all this stuff that Victoria has kind of announced, isn't actually, they're not doing this to their people. And they're worried about emissions in Victoria, yet they're still, again, trying to slow down the pace of electric vehicle adoption. If my friends were thinking about going to either car at the moment, they're like, geez, I'm a bit unsure about that tax. And if anyone asks me about plug-in hybrid cars right now, I'm saying stay well and truly away from them. And for my viewers who are interstate in Australia, please do something as well, because you know what? This legislation, if passed, is going to signal to the rest of the country that it's okay to actually introduce a new tax that's going to be, unfair on many, many levels. It's going to really penalise people who live in regional Victoria, and they'll copy it, because fuel excise since the 1990s has decreased by more than 18%. Meanwhile, the number of cars on the road has increased by more than 20%. So as cars become more fuel efficient, that income stream that the federal government gets has actually been decreasing. So the states are seeing the writing on the wall, and they're trying to get in front of this. And the Victorian Treasurer who introduced this actually said as much. So yeah, do as much as you can, please. Look to the phone numbers and email addresses of those members of parliament down below. Obviously, be polite and be sincere around it. And yeah, get on social media. Most of these guys are on Twitter or maybe on Facebook. Maybe the rooms, maybe the offices are near you. Get in there now, because we've only got until Thursday evening to get this, hopefully, scrapped. An Australian company, Janus Energy, located in Berkeley Vale, New South Wales, has refueling times for electric trucks sorted with a forklift? Yep, that's a 600 kilowatt hour battery being delicately removed from a converted T403 Kenworth truck. This battery swap system means that truck drivers can pull in, swap out to a new battery and keep going in just 5 minutes, which is way faster than even the fastest high-rate diesel pump can manage. Janus Energy is doing truck conversions and fitting them with 300 kilowatt motors, roughly what an existing truck engine was capable of. But because it's electric and can be electrically tuned with 100% instant power, their motors deliver 3,500 newton meters of torque compared to the 2,265 newton meters of a diesel variant. This increase in torque means that the converted trucks can hold 50 more metric tons of cargo compared to a conventional engine, up from 70 to now 120 tons. With a range of 500 to 600 kilometers, this system and charging stations are being installed along major freeway routes, so truck drivers can do this swap quickly and be on their way. As if that wasn't impressive enough, the big headline here is that Janus Energy claims that by going electric, significant fuel savings can be achieved. How much? Half. Yep, half. Total cost savings of up to $75,000 per year per truck. I'll say that again. Cost savings of $75,000 per year per truck. At the moment, Genesis is looking for investors and people interested in running the charging stations. And so look, I've left a link down below if you want to go check them out. Daniel Bleakley, an engineer and climate activist, posted on Twitter and created a YouTube channel showing coal miners and their first experience of what driving an EV can be like. A warning, by the way. Explicit language ahead. So if you're easily offended, maybe turn off the sound now, as like their facial expressions tell the story here.
So have you ever been in one?
No.
This is the first time.
First time.
First time, last night shift.
And I'm driving it.
Planned it. Hardest again.
Holy! Holy fuck!
Hardest again.
Holy fuck! Holy!
Give it a bit.
Holy shit! Cancel the rant!
Fucking punching, you see that?
Give it some.
Whoa! Fuck!
Go, go, go.
Holy!
Give it.
Wow! Fuck! It's like a fucking
that makes me sick as that.
holy fucking hell!
Jeez, that's got to go out.
Wow!
This is ridiculous.
Fucking hell! It's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Feel it, you feel it in your face even.
Yeah.
No, you just can't hear it again.
What do you think of that?
That is some serious acceleration, isn't it?
Oh, she brakes by herself.
Yeah, so the regen's on, so
That's charging.
that's recharging, yeah.
Wow!
This is awesome, man.
Trust it, it'll turn for you.
Wow!
So so just stop.
That is
Can we get
fucking
this?
nuts!
So does that convert you?
Yeah!
You've been converted.
Okay, well, I do hope you've enjoyed this little episode. If you've enjoyed it, think about subscribing, turning on notifications, and leave me a comment. Yeah, I do read them, I really do. If you want to go to the next level, think about joining us over here on Patreon, where from as little as $2.50 per month or like 60 cents per week, you get early access to news, polls, and information, exclusives, behind the scenes, all that stuff that you just don't get here. And a big, awesome thank you to my producers, and that's Nigel Faria, Ashley Hill, Alan Byrne, and Tessa Nagol. Alright, you be good, and you be green.
Something more than friends.